Today, moving on to 8.7, we're going to do solving inequalities, two-step and multi-step. Okay, so we just went over in our bell ringer single step. We divided, we multiplied, we added, we subtracted. Okay, now we're going to get into two-step because we're comfortable by now. Yeah? Okay, one thing I want to talk about is these multiplication and division properties. Okay, with inequalities, I'm going to write negative 2x is less than 10. How would I get x by itself right here? Divide by
2.
Negative 2. Refresh your brain. What happens when you multiply or divide by a negative number?
Negative 5.
You get negative 5. What happens to the sign?
It
flips it. Okay, if we divide or multiply by a negative number, our sign flips. So instead of less than, it turns to greater than. Okay, if I look at an example with multiplying, what do I need to multiply by to get x by itself?
5.
Multiply by 5?
And it'd be
So I have negative x is greater than 25. What would my last step be?
flipping the thing.
Solving for x, what's my last thing? Divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1, what's happening?
It's negative 25, and then you flip the thing.
Right, I need to flip the sign because I divided by a negative number. Okay, if you divide or multiply. Now, some people, I'm going to say that started as a negative 25. Let me just do a new example. Some people had some examples like this. How do I get x alone? How do I get x alone? Divide by 2. So I get x and negative 5. Does my sign flip?
No.
Right, I'm not dividing by negative. Yes, this number is negative, but that's not the number I'm dividing by. That's not the number that's moving across the inequality. Does that make sense? That's why our sign does not need to change. Okay? So if you multiply or divide by a negative number, your sign has to flip for it to make sense still. Capiche? All right, go ahead and try this example. In your notes, it's on the back side.
6.
I want you to solve and graph. Solve and graph. Make your own number line. First, when solving inequalities and graphing them, what do I need to do first? How do I get y alone? Show your work by subtracting 5. Yep. So we get y is greater than 6. Okay, now we graph.
And then you start at the positive 6.
Start at 6. What's the first thing? Slow down just a second. What's the first thing you ask yourself?
Open, sir, if it's open or closed.
Open or closed? What is it?
Open.
Why is it open?
Because there's not a line.
Not equal to. Okay, now you read it. It wants all the y values greater than 6. Where are those at? To the right or to the left?
Right.
Point in the direction where you think.
It's that way.
All the y values greater than 6. Okay, how can I check if I just graphed this right?
You go the opposite.
The arrowhead is pointing the same way as the sign.
You can use that, but I'm going to pick a value. 10's over here, right? Plug 10 in. Is 10 greater than 6? Yes, so I know I graphed it right. Now I want you to do this one. 11 is less than y plus 5. Graph that one. What do I do first?
You have to subtract the 5.
Subtract 5 on both sides?
Yep.
So I have 6 is less than y. When we solve equations, I'm going to back up just a little bit. A lot of us, when we're getting our final answer, we like to write y is less than 6.
No, it's 6 less than y.
Can we do that with inequalities?
No.
Can we just flip the side and put the y on the right side? Or on the left side? You cannot do that. Okay, because what are we supposed to get? Supposed to get 6 is less than y. Okay, if you put y on this side, do those two statements say the same thing? No, total opposites. So with inequalities, you have to stay consistent when you're solving. Okay, you have to stay consistent. Now, Graphing. Open or closed?
Open. And
Open.
Then it goes to the left.
No, it goes to the left.
No, wait.
Oh,
No,
wait,
it goes to the right.
No, it
Left.
goes to the
Right.
left.
Okay,
Single.
listen. Is this problem any different than the one we just did? They should have the same answer. Okay, the only thing that's different is y is on this side. Okay, but when reading it, it says 6 is less than everything else. So where's everything else at if 6 is the smallest? To the right.
Oh, so it's not there.
Okay? Right. You cannot always bank on where the arrow's pointing. You cannot do that. If y or x or whatever, if the variable is on the left side like this one does, then you can point to where the arrow goes. But do not do that. Okay?
Wait. So,
Here. Okay. So again, if I plugged in 10 here, 6 less than 10. Is that true? Yes? Hey, raise your hand if you do not like it when it looks like this. If it confuses you. It confuses me. Okay? How can I make this look like this?
Just flip it.
Flip it.
Flip it. Flip everything. So this can flip to y is greater than 6. Now is it easier to read?
Yeah.
Yes, you can do that. Okay, you just have to stay consistent. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay. Try this one, but I'm going to change it for you so you don't have to work with fraction.
with the number,
2h minus 1 is less than 5. Go. What do I need to do first?
subtract by 1. Plus 1.
Add 1. So we have 2h is less than 6. What's my last step? Divide by 2. So we have h is less than 3. Okay. What's the last thing I need to do with inequalities? What's the last thing I need to do? Graph. What's the first thing I ask? That's the second thing. Open or close first? What is it? Open. Now, it wants all the h values less than 3.
It goes to the left.
It needs to go to the left.
Wait,
Yep.
so if the 3, or if the numbers to the, like.
So if I had it flipped, if I had 3 is greater than h,
This still go to the left.
it would still go to the
Yeah,
left.
so if the numbers on the side with like the gator's mouth open, then it's going to the left. But if it's on like that side with the point, then it's going to the right.
Yes. Yep. Questions on these? Yeah.
I'm confused. Why if you divide, you don't flip the sign?
Okay, when's the only time you flip the sign?
It's negative.
If it's negative. So if you divided by a -2, then I would have. Okay, go ahead and try those last 2 examples. These are the ones where you need to watch for the negatives. When you divide or multiply by a negative, what's going to happen? Flip the sign. On A, it's okay if you're not done. On A, how do I get x by itself? Divide by -9. I'm dividing by a negative. What's going to happen? Sign is going to flip and I will get a positive. So I divided by a negative, so my sign needs to flip. Okay, last step, I need to graph. Open or closed? Open. All the x values greater than 3. Are they to the right or to the left? Greater than 3. All to the right. Don't rush through that last part. That's the most important part. Okay, that tells us where all of our solutions are. Okay? On B, what do I do first? Subtract 4. So I have -x divided by 5 is greater than or equal to 7. What do I do next? Multiply by 5. So I have -x is greater than or equal to 35. What's my last step?
You see if it's you graph it. You flip
Is it by itself yet?
Yeah. No.
Divide by a -1. So we have x is less than or equal to -35. Good. Now we graph. -35. Open or closed?
Close.
Closed. It wants all the x values less than -35. Less than.
Left.
Left. Okay. Like I said, do not rush that last step. That's the most important part, which direction your line goes. Okay, that's what tells me what your answer is, not this. Okay, any questions over solving inequalities?
No.
Okay.